Oh, great. We're good then. For those who are live streaming, I think you just came on, welcome. Okay, we're good to go. Please join your palms and bow. The four great vows. I vow to deliver innumerable sentient beings. I vow to cut off endless vexations. I vow to master limitless approaches to Dharma. I vow to attain supreme Buddhahood. Hello to you all. It's somewhat incredible that I've actually showed up today. I've been in literally nonstop trials, and here I'm trying to retire, and I just keep going on. And tomorrow I'll be in trial, and the next day, and the next day after that. So we'll see. But in any case, I wanted to talk about the Chan death poems. They're not really about death. They're, you could say, the last statement of the masters that they give. And it's very funny. There was one that I saw, and it said, well, I'm supposed to give a death poem, so here it is, you know, goodbye. And that was it. And others, they're very profound. I want to start with a Master Shenyang's death poem, just to read it, and then we're going to come back to it. But I want you to kind of digest it. And it says, busy with nothing, growing old, within emptiness, weeping and laughing. Intrinsically, there is no I. Life and death thus cast aside. I really invite you to just read that and reread it and reread it and find the Dharma that's stated there. It isn't just something that you read and you go, oh, that sounds so good. He was such a wise master. He's stating what is the essence of the Dharma from the heart. And one can approach it and get the basic understanding of it, or another understanding of what's called the metaphysical, or what I talk about is the profound Dharma and the profound wisdom, Prajnaparamita, or one can actually feel what is being said. And sometimes those actions speak louder than others. When I was preparing for this lecture, it was very strange. It was a dark and stormy night. Sounds like a good opening to a book. But it was very, very stormy. And I was in my living room, and I have these large windows looking out. And I read this one master's quote, and I can't find that one. But when I was reading it, and it said that it essentially was something that it shattered everything. All of a sudden, outside there was lightning and this thunder, and I thought, wow, what a great coincidence. I was just reading this part where it's talking about that. And then I read Dogen's death poem, and Dogen's death poem goes, 54 years lighting up the sky. A quivering leap smashes a billion words. Ha! And just as I got there was this incredible lightning, probably several times stronger than the previous lightning, several times louder. And it just shattered, almost shattered the windows. It was so strong. And it was at the same time as I was reading that part that a quivering leap smashes a billion worlds. And the first line was lighting up the sky. Is that a coincidence? Things like that? I did not make these stories up. It happened exactly as I was reading it. And I did have somebody present when I did that to show them, hey, here's what I'm reading. Look at this. This is incredible. So it's not something that I made up, but it happened. And this is the third way of understanding, which is this esoteric side that's there. And it's as if Dogen is reaching through all of mine to make a point. And then I knew that this was a topic I should be talking about. And this was something that was being welcomed. It could be a coincidence upon a coincidence, but to me, I see that as something that is like a sign that this is what we should be looking at. And essentially, Dogen was a Japanese master, and he's credited with bringing the Chan school to Japan, which there was called Zen. And so when you're reading this poem, and he's saying that he's lighting up the skies, and quivering leap smashes a billion worlds, the entire body looks for nothing. So the body looks for nothing. What body is he talking about? Is he talking about our body? No, he's not talking about that. He's talking about the Dharmakaya, the body, what you could call the Buddha body. And it looks for nothing. There's nothing that it can look for that would not be the Buddha body. And so in this way, and he says, living, I plunge into the yellow springs. What else is there to do but this plunging in? So he's saying he plunges in. And so to us, when we see this, I think maybe the yellow springs, and I'm not sure about this, could refer to all of these stars that are in the sky. And plunging into it is plunging into the void, plunging through this idea of this notion of self. And in doing that, there is this idea of welcoming, inviting people to go this way. It is not easy for us, because if I said, I am all going to take you on the enlightenment train, and you all have to come to my house tomorrow, and whoever can make it there, come, and you'll go, you'll show up. But when you show up, you'll all have your baggage. What are you bringing? Well, I've got to have my iPhone or my iWatch to connect to the iPhone, or to my iPad, or I have to have this, or this is important to me, and my notebook or my books or whatever. And I go, no, you can't take any of that with you. You can't even take you with you. This is not something that can be explained. But it is in this way. It's as if we say, you can trade all of this that you have, all of these treasures, these countless treasures that are there, that you could have in samsara. If you were really lucky, you could win the lotto and have all of these things, never care anymore about anything that you want. You could get it right away. You want that, you got it. You want that, you got it. And it's not as valuable as letting go and looking into mind, and let the mind absorb you. We talk about jumping into the void, but people kind of go, okay, well, I have to and then jump in. But it is simply letting mind absorb us. This is not something that is very, very easy for us to do, to allow the mind to absorb us. But we don't understand that. We don't understand what that means. We believe that we will lose our identity. But our identity is something that it's as if we're in Disneyland. And if we lose our Disneyland card, we can't be in Disneyland, and it has a picture of us. But it isn't in that way. No, that's not reality. Jumping into the void is going right directly into what reality is. But we think reality is here, that all of this is real. But these masters are looking at it and saying, there is no I here. You have to see that there's no I, but yet there's still something that's happening. And this is the part we don't understand. And because we don't understand this part, we can't jump in the void because we don't know this aspect of the void. We fail to be able to get this point. I hesitate to say grasp the point, because if you try to grasp it, you're just simply grasping at smoke. But it is something that we have to accept. We have to take that step. And then so you see all of these analogies, such as footprints in the snow. And you say, oh, well, here's the footprints in the snow. Does it matter? Yeah, it does matter. There is something there. It's not nihilistic. It's not like, okay, if you jump in, there's nothing that happens. It is that in that moment, there is a recognition of the purpose of this body, the true purpose of this body. Not one that has to become a master, not one that becomes the Pope or whatever religious leader, but one that in their heart, they want to guide people to awaken and to see that this world is not as it appears to be. That what appears to be real isn't, but what is real, what appears not to be real, is really real. And this is something that's very, very important as we begin to look at things. I'm going to switch to read a poem. I don't know where I'm going to lose you or not. Let me know. I have to open up another window. Oh, wait, I can see it here. Okay. This is a poem called Foolish Man by Master Xu Yun, which is a modern day master, one of the first of the new generation of masters reviving Chan. And Master Xu Yun, his name in English is also referred to as Empty Cloud, which is a very interesting name. So he wrote this poem. This isn't necessarily a death poem, but it's very close to one. And it is absolutely an amazing poem. And referring to this foolish man. Who is this foolish man? Who is this foolish woman? He said, where did he come from? So where did he come from? Where do you come from? Do you know? Was it from your mother's womb? Were you there before? Where did he come from? You want to look into this to say, okay, where did you come from? Anybody have an idea? Where did you come from? Maybe mine. You never really was coming or going. That is why they talk about the Tathagata and the Tathagata, thus come one or thus gone one. And there's just this thusness that's there. So where did you come from? So right away, he's challenging you. He's telling you to look into this. And it says, in this helpless age, when the Dharma is in decay. So in this helpless age where the Dharma is in decay, they always talk about the Dharma ending age. And I think Dharma ending age started about maybe 800 years ago, so, but we're still there. And there's these great masters like Master Xu Yun, Master Tai Shu, Master Sheng that are reviving and bringing this back. But the Dharma ending age, it almost went out. It was almost just fizzling out. And they reignited it for us. And the wonderful thing that happened that enables us all to get more impetus was electronic media and the ability to have so much Dharma at your very fingertips. And this is something very important, because imagine in the old days, in the 7th century, and they just barely go, oh, here's the scroll. It just is hot out of China, perhaps written 200 years before, but it was hot to the Chinese. Not hot out of China, hot out of India. And it's just coming in, and they're going, let me take a look at this. And they start looking at it and looking at it, and they're going, oh my goodness, this is very incredible. And all they have is one scroll. And they read it and read it and read it, because that's all they've got. We, at a touch of our fingertips, have access to so much information, so much Dharma, so much teaching. It's amazing. So there's this renaissance now, and it's up to you, to all of you, to take it forward. And there's none of you that are so old that you can't push it along a little bit, you know. You see Robert, he's still sweeping and sweeping and sweeping and pushing this along, and that's good, you know. And he'll do that till he's finished. He understands it. All of you, you know, some of you are the next generation. Some are contemporaries with me. You know, Harry and I, we think twice about when we go to the store and pick bananas. You know, we don't want to get them too green. So that's something that we're mindful of. But it's important, because we look at this and we say, what can we leave here? What can we do to keep fanning the flame of the Dharma, to keep it going, so that it is here for others, not for us? What do I want it? Where am I going to take it with me in terms of baggage? I don't want that. I don't need that. I don't need any allocates. I don't need anything. And the thing is, that's why Shifu, going back to him, you know, he didn't want anybody to be there and possess these relics of his. Relics are, in Chinese, shilisi. Shilisi are these little things when you're cremated. The great masters, they have almost pearl-like objects that come up of different colors. And it says, oh, well, that's the proof that this person was enlightened or whatever. Shifu could care less about that. He didn't want you to do that. When we buried Shifu, we buried him in 5 different holes. I was there. And there were 5 holes that were there. And we just, you know, put his ashes in a public grave, so nobody could say, well, there's where Shifu was at, you know, and bring flowers or whatever else to him. He didn't want that. He didn't want any stupas erected or anything else. He was true to the very last moment that the hell with Shirlisis. What he wanted is to make sure that you didn't miss the boat, that you were there and you didn't get it wrong. And you didn't get it wrong. This is what is very, very, very important that you understand. And so we continue on with his poem. For what did he stick his neck out? So, or what way did he stick out his neck? You know, why did he do this? You know, it's so easier. He could have gone to the mountains and just meditated and disappeared. But he stuck his neck out. He stuck his neck to try to teach the deep prajnaparamita to people, exhorting them to practice hard. This is very, very important. And then it says, how lamentable this noble lineage. And so he's saying, it's so sad, you know, the noble lineage is going back all the way to Buddha. And we dare not break it. We try our best to present it to the next generation, not in words and phrases, but in the heart. This is where it's at. And this is very, very important. There was once that one master, and he went to his disciple, and the master was going to retire. And so he went to him and said, here is the everything that is important in our school. Guard it well. and leave it to the next generation. But the disciple, he took all of the writings and he threw them in the fireplace. And the master said, "What are you doing?" And the student said, "What are you saying?" It is something that's very, very important that you have to understand. That it isn't in the writings, it is what the writings enable the mind to transcend the idea that there's this life in being that needs to become enlightened. It isn't in this way, and it isn't in this passing into parinirvana. It is in this moment. Dogen was in that moment. That's what happened. That's why I told you that story, not because it's something that I want to say, oh, this wonderful thing. That's for you. That's for you to have the faith in terms of what you're seeing in how this works. It was kind of an unusual thing because there was once where I went to a retreat, and it was one of the first retreats I was able to give at DDRC, and there was this monk there, and he was telling me I had to play Shifu's lectures, a la the same style as they do in Taiwan. And so what was my role there? I said, no, I'm not, I'll play the lectures of Shifu's, but I'll also lecture because that's the way Shifu lectured. And I also mentioned to him that if he had Shifu's DVDs in front of him, I would have snapped them in two, which I would have. And people would go, those are the originals of Shifu. And I'd say, what are you saying? That's not the original. Those are relics. Those are relics. We don't need that. What we need is the heart. What we pass on from one generation to the other is the heart, not the words and the phrases. If we don't understand that, then you're in the wrong place in terms of this. But what I'm presenting to you is from the heart, to really try hard to understand Buddha Dharma. That doesn't mean that Shifu's lectures are not valuable. They are, of course they are. But they are something that we use as a practice. But in a Chan setting, we need a live lecture that can sit there and watch the people and see how they're doing. And using that heart to spread to other people. This is the wonder of the electronic time, is I can reach out to all of you, even though some of you are in Russia, and and some of you that are up in the northern states where it's cold, you probably wish you were in Russia because it's so cold. But in any case, it is this way I can touch each of you, and you likewise touch others. I've seen it, and it's wonderful in terms of how we do that. And so then in the poem, he says that in the late autumn, this noble lineage in the late autumn hangs so precariously on a single strand of hair. It's so delicate, this Dharma ending age. We have to be so careful. They say that the first sutra that will disappear in the Dharma ending age will be the Shurangama Sutra. So it's very important for us to continue to study that, to read it, to bring others to it, so it doesn't fade away. And it's kind of like the movie, the cartoon Coco. If you stop remembering about it, it ceases to exist. But the thing is, we need to bring this for the next generation. The next generation, we need to present these precious sutras and let people have a taste of it. And so then he said, casting his own affairs aside, he cares only for others. So they say, all right, I could say, excuse me, can you wait until I eat some dinner and then I'll come back after that? Or I don't need to do this. To me, this is the most important thing that I've done the whole day. The most important thing, the essence of why I'm here, is to help you in this practice, and to support you as much as I can. So you cast your own affairs aside. Am I tired? Yeah, but I'm not tired enough to not present the Dharma, because it's necessary. We have to do that. So we cast that aside, and we do this. And sometimes I say, people say, Gilbert, you need to take a rest. And I say, I'll rest when I'm dead. There's just too much to do before we go there. I remember one retreat I was at, and these retreats in DDRC, right now DDRC is like a country club. When you go there, you don't have to work too much. Maybe you clean dishes or you polish the floor or whatever. But when I was there, we were doing hard labor. I was driving this giant tractor around. I was, cutting weeds. I was doing all sorts of stuff. And once I was there, and Shifu was going up to give a lecture, and I was running down from the Chan Hall because I had to get to one last job. And so I was running, and Shifu said, Gilbert, don't be in such a hurry. And I'm running like this by Shifu would say, yes, Shifu, I know. And I'm running backwards and telling him, but I've got to get this done before I go back up and do this. And he's just looking at me, just smiling, because he understands that they were both important, me listening to the lecture, but also to fulfill the duties that I had there. And so it's a very funny thing, because he understood what I was doing, and he wasn't rebuking me at that point, because he knew that I sincerely wanted to get back up to listen to his lecture. And so when we do this, this is how we use our heart to practice. And he then said that casting his own affairs aside, he only cares for others. Truly, this is the way it is. At this point in my life, I see Buddhas in everybody. And I really want those Buddhas to fulfill their destiny, to fulfill intrinsically what they are. You all are already Buddhas. It's not that you have the Buddha seed. You are Buddhas, but you don't realize it. So you don't walk around acting like a Buddha. If I was going to do that and acting like a Buddha, I would eat donuts all day, and I would act like Milafo, or look like Milafo at least. But that's not what I'm going to do. Although sometimes I lean that way. But in any case, you have to see that. When you see that in people, it's wonderful in your heart, incredible to feel that way about others. Then you cannot be angry. You cannot condemn people. You cannot hope that they roll over and die or whatever that when we're angry, we tell people to do. He stands on a solitary peak. This master, he's talking about standing on a solitary peak. I understand that. He's there, and he's looking around and going, come on, we need more. There's room on this peak for everyone. And so it says, dropping a straightened hook to catch a carp. Very interesting. This master's so incredible. Can you catch a carp with a straightened hook? So if I have a hook, you see, there it is, and it's straight, I'm not going to catch the fish, right? But what is the point? Why is he saying dropping a straightened hook to catch a carp? Harry, you must know this. Where's Harry? Hold on, she's trying to block you. Go ahead.
Yeah, because the means that he's using to catch the carp are beyond any concept. So all concepts get turned around. And
okay.
the carp is in the mind. Yeah.
In fact, there's no carp to catch. So that's why he's
Right.
saying it. It's a very interesting thing. We're dropping a straightened hook to catch the carp, but the carp, as Harry's saying, is in the mind. But nevertheless, why do we drop the straightened hook? Why do we do that? This is very important. He'll get there. He's going to get there in this poem. Okay. Thank you, Harry. And then he says, he enters into the bottom of the great sea, tending the fire, boiling ephemeral bubbles. So it's very interesting because in the mind, as there's an analogy, as you go deeper and deeper into the mind and you think, and I use this analogy, some of you love it, which is the one of the a 7-Up glass, a glass full of 7-Up, and there's bubbles, and you see the bubbles all the way down to the bottom. That's what he's talking about, all the potentiality of everything that could be created in the mind. And he's down there setting into motion those things that can be created. My goodness, look at what Shifu accomplished. I still scratch my head about that, how much he accomplished in such an incredibly short time, very short time. And he was there, tending the fires and boiling these ephemeral bubbles. And look at what the bubbles manifested. It's so amazing what was able to be done. Our potentiality to help others is limitless. And we have to believe that. We have to say we've got to do it. Sometimes I tell some students, like the Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi, and say, your best karate is still inside of you, time to let it out. And to you, your best chan is still inside of you. You have to let it out. You really have to do that. Open up that lotus flower that's there and help others. You will not believe how incredible that will be, how wonderful. And you will be fearless and be able to present the Dharma to people without having to worry about making a mistake. Finding no one who can understand his tune. So this idea of finding no one that can understand his tune it's hard because as I present the Dharma, again, I present it on the basic channel or basic level, and then also the metaphysical or the profound. And then beyond that is the esoteric, is this tune that's there that if you're in samsara and just clinging to samsara, you cannot hear, but it's there. And this master is talking about it and saying, here is this tune that he's playing. He's playing it in the key of mind. Very wonderful. In the key of mind, there he is playing this tune for all of us. And we're looking at it. Some people go, that's very profound. Others go, I don't understand it. Others go, he's so full of baloney. He just makes this up. Whatever. All I say to those is just get out of the way. Let me do whatever I need to do. And that's fine with me. He grieves alone in vain. So he's sad. He sees, my gosh, look at what we're doing in this world. Look at all of the war, all of the hate, all the discrimination, and all the killing. And you don't have to go to another country to find the killing. Right here in the US, we're becoming masters at that. He grieves in vain. He feels that. Of course he feels it because in mind there's the embodiment of Kuan Yin. And he's making that connection with Kuan Yin and seeing the things and feels the suffering of sentient beings and what we're doing. And so this is amazing and how he's doing it. And he feels it in vain, saying, I wish I could do more. There is a statue of Kuan Yin that has multi-hands and many heads. I don't know if you've seen the statue like that. When you first coming to Buddhism, you go, well, that's a pretty strange statue. That a head upon a head upon a head upon a head. That's kind of weird. I'm not sure I'm going to accept this religion. Well, it's not a religion. What it is a depiction of saying that once there was the Buddha had pity on Kuan Yin that wanted to do more and more and more. And so gave multiple heads, multiple arms. And we are those multiple heads and we are the multiple arms. There's not just one bodhisattva that is that way. It's depicted as to representing that we serve as the as the function of Kuan Yin too. We can feel that. We can feel the things. It's not just simply we grieve for whatever. We have to grieve for all sentient beings. He scolds himself for being slow-witted. I don't know how many times I'm there and I'm reading, and sometimes when I'm reading, especially some of the Tibetan real great masters and what they're writing, I'm just going like, my gosh, I'm not worthy. Their ability is amazing. And I just say, I need to practice more. I need to practice more. I'm just not there yet. I've got to keep pushing this. I got to do this so that not to become a person to stand on a solitary peak, but a person that welcomes everyone and finds the ways to help everyone. I was talking to Sentha yesterday, and we were talking about 84,000 Dharma doors. One door is enough for you to go through, but 84,000 is what we need. And so we have to become adept at presenting the doors to those who want to go through, or those don't even know that a door exists, and to awaken them at least to that. So we awaken the people in their capacity to do that. But as I am here, I don't see anyone that's in this group that can't enter one of those doors. And if you do, you have to then really start practicing more and more seriously so that you can welcome others. His laughter shatters the void. It is truly in this way that he's not just making it morbid here. Shu Yun is now saying his laughter shatters the void. Why? Because when we look at this and we see the foolishness, the foolish man represented by all samsaric persons, in fact, there's no need for suffering. The liberation is something that's so great. We can give this to others. Imagine. You can get this Mani Pearl, this wish-fulfilling gem that takes away all your suffering. And then the people go, how does the wish-fulfilling gem go? And you go, well, we start with, that this body's going to die. And you go, well, that's not very helpful, what you just said. You're telling me this body's going to die. But Shifu would say, but you come back, it's not bad. You trade in one old car for a new car, pretty good deal. That's his words. But the thing is that the laughter about it is that that's all a dream. It's not real. It's not real. We're living in a dream. What's real is mind. That mind is infinite. It's infinite in time and space. There is no location to the mind. The mind substance is mind. The mind's meaning is mind. And when we begin to look at things in this way, then we see it and we say, of course I can help people. Of course I can deliver them. I just need to wake them up. Because they're just, this body that's here, it just represented is like a bubble in a stream. Alas, you ask, why doesn't he just put everything down? Just put it down. Put it down. It should be so easy, right? I could be eating my food right now, my vegetarian tacos that I made from yesterday. I still have a couple of them to eat. And I wouldn't have to do anything. I could just be watching TV. Not bad. I don't think I want to watch the news these days, but unfortunately I do. But in any case, why don't I just put it down? It'd be so much easier. Take a vacation. My vacations are going to retreats. I don't remember the last vacation I took. Seriously. You go, wow, Gilbert, you're kind of a downer, you know, you need to get a life. This is my life. This is what I do. I choose this because it's important. Why doesn't he just put everything down? When the suffering of all beings ends, only then will he rest. That is Master Shu Yun. That master is it within. We come from that school. We should give great respect to this master. Now, I wanted to switch for a moment to talk about a Master Shen Yang's poem. Fortunately, it's only 4 lines, so otherwise I would have run out of time. Busy with nothing, growing old. What do you think that means? Busy with nothing, growing old. What does this represent? We're going to open up the lines here and let's take a few callers and see if somebody knows what this means. I'm sure some of you have read this and thought about this. Who can tell me what busy with nothing, growing old means? Testing, is this microphone working? Nobody knows. Nobody can do this. All these sagacious people here, and nobody will dare. We have to go back to Master Shu Yun's poem, that finding no one to understand his tune. So Yan Lu says to everyone, anything he worked on doesn't leave, is not left anywhere. Okay. Because, continue. Anybody want to help her? At least she had a start. She's brave enough. This one can go and help Tisan Pusa. She'll not be afraid of the flames. Anybody else? Although she did write it instead of say it, but that's okay. Anybody else? He's saying busy with nothing, growing old. This is our master. Don't let him down. Yun Kai, and then Tori next. Go ahead.
Hi, Gilbert. I think it is saying, you actually do a lot in your life. However, you didn't really do much because it's empty. But even though it's empty, you still do a lot to enlighten and to help sentient beings.
And then what do you think about the next part, growing old?
I guess, well, as a sentient being, you do grow old.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take Tori now. Tori, go ahead.
I think both of those, they're reflecting on the nature of impermanence. Busy doesn't really make an impact because whatever we try to build, we try to achieve, it doesn't last, right? And we grow old, and because the body itself is not permanent. So that's what I thought.
But do you think that when he's saying busy, he's saying busy like Yun Kai was talking about, this busy with helping people? to trying to deliver people. So he's busy with nothing. The nothing is because the
There's
sentient
nobody
being,
to help.
there's nobody to help. But nevertheless, see, this is the part that's really, really important for you guys to look at this. When he's saying this, he's saying it as it is. Remember, I once said that a bodhisattva is someone that straddles samsara and mind. They are there equally straddling it, knowing there's a samsara there, knowing where the vows are drive them to, but knowing that that's busy doing nothing. There's this emptiness or impermanence that the two of you are talking about. And growing old, one is mindful of impermanence. And one is mindful of that it means something. It's not nihilistic. It means something. We could just say, well, this world is just nothing, you know, and so what do? Pardon, I'm going to say a bad word, but it's in a quote of Jim Morrison. He was from the Doors, lead singer, and he said, well, we should get all our kicks in before the shit house goes up in flames. But that's not what our perspective is. That's a perspective of someone that doesn't care. But we care, even though that there's no sentient being to deliver. Nevertheless, to them in dream that's being suffered by the Buddha, there is something there. It matters. And that's what Shifu in that very, very first one is saying. I'm not sure what you mean. There's George Lee saying in entranced enhancement. So if you could explain that a little bit more. Anybody else want to chip in so far? This poem is extremely deep. I mean, this is life meditation or life. Okay. So when we say within emptiness, so now we're back to the emptiness, this nothing. So he's saying within the emptiness, weeping and laughing. What does this mean? Within emptiness, weeping and laughing. All those words are precise. I imagine in Chinese, they're probably even more precise, but this is as good as we're going to get in English. Within emptiness, weeping and laughing. Anybody know? Anybody want to? It's okay that you can just say it. You don't have to be right here. You just have to open your heart to express what these words, what they feel to you. Yeah, go ahead, Santa. You read my mind.
Not stuck to emptiness, not cold stone, dry wood, weeping and laughing.
And this is an interesting part, because what it does is that it points to the very essence of Nagarjuna's two truths. Nagarjuna's two truths were saying there is the absolute truth, right? That's the emptiness of all things. The emptiness is the substance of mind. But within that, weeping and laughing is the apparent reality. The apparent reality that's still a part of mind. It's made from the substance of mind. And being made from the substance of mind, we don't disregard either one, because people will say, well, then which is the real one? And he didn't say anything, because you can't. And that's what Shifu's doing here, is he's pointing right directly to the middle way. These lines speak volumes, like volumes of stuff. In his 4 lines, he's saying as much as Xu Yun said. It is absolutely incredible. So when I read this, I was going, wow. And every time I come back to it, I see more and more. I can feel him. I can feel Shifu in what he's saying here. So it says, The next line, intrinsically. Now, the term intrinsically means that it is within something, just like within emptiness. Intrinsically, there is no I. So intrinsically, there's no I. This is a pretty simple one, right? Anybody want to venture and see what you think about this? Intrinsically, what is his point here besides the obvious? Nobody? I'll close my eyes and then I'll open up and one of you will have your hand up. See, I was right. Intrinsically, there's no I or you. So you didn't fail me. Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, your tongue should say something.
Let you 10. Hello, Amitofo.
Amitofo, Gilbert. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, let me try it. So, because of impermanence, so the body, all parts of as a human parts is keep changing, and so there is no the I that not because it keeps changing all the time. So whether from other people's eyes of that from other people's perspective, Shifu keeps changing, or the person called Sheng keeps changing, and as Shifu is keeps changing, so it backs to the first line that busy with nothing. So Shiva wasn't doing anything. So there is no I, but there is a things that Shiva clears that he wants to do. So it's just doing, or it's just contributing, just helping, giving others, teaching Dharma, but there is no I within it. That's my understanding. Thank you.
Well, thank you, because you just showed how to process it. There's no set way of doing it. It is how you interpret that, how you see that, and so I'm very happy. And did you know you're going to help me later this year? I'm going to go to Taiwan and give a lecture, so I want you to be the interpreter. So you need to contact Esther Leong. She's in Taiwan. She just arrived today, so please make contact with her. All right. Intrinsically, there's no I, okay? Remember that. No comment? Oh, he's muted again. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, then we get to the next one. Life and death.
Gilbert,
yeah, go ahead.
You say when? When are you going to Taiwan? Yeah, when? In
early part of December. So I'm going to give a retreat there, but I'm also going to be doing some public lectures and stuff. So hopefully you can help us out when you're there, and if John's not available too. So U10 is a very interesting one. He interpreted for me in one of my lectures over there, and I literally, unfortunately, brought him to tears because he didn't know what I was talking about. But over the years now, since then, he went on a very extended retreat, and he's made incredible improvements. I mean, he's just a amazing proof of how, if one really puts their mind to it, that you can improve. And so his Bodhi is amazing, and his demonstration of it. So I think he's going to be a rising star. So anyway, enough, or else your head will blow up. So, okay, we continue on. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Okay, so the life and death thus cast aside. So we cast it aside. So what do you think he's saying here? There's many different levels that you can see in this. Life and death thus cast aside. What is he trying to tell us? Because he's saying intrinsically there's no I, life and death thus cast aside. He's going and he's saying all of this stuff, and then he just gets to this crescendo and bam. What is it? What is this message? Sue, I know you know this. Sultan, don't hide. No? You want to? And all right, Wei Shan. Wei Shan's in China. He's one of my interpreters too. So I don't know if you know you can or not, but you guys should get together. But go ahead.
Okay, that'll be great.
Did you freeze up? It looks like he froze. Hopefully the government didn't censor him. I don't think so. We're not doing anything with anti-government here. I give blessings to all of them. Oh, we lost him. Hopefully he'll come back. Okay, anybody else want to speak instead of Wei Shan?
We've got a couple of comments in the chat. Suzanne says an invitation to the void.
It's an invitation to the void. Yeah, in some ways that it can be that way. Life and death thus cast aside. So that's dealing with that. Go ahead. Next one.
And then Wendy from our Riverside group says, it's all mind, so there is no life or death.
It's all mind, there's no life or death. Okay, anybody else?
That's it.
What is he trying to communicate with us? I'll tell you a story. And one of the people that the story is about is actually in our group, which is Letty. Hello, Letty. And that was that I took her and her cousin to a retreat once, and they had never met Master Sheng. So we were in the office and we were looking at a bunch of books, and they were going, oh, look at here's this one has his picture and this, and they were so much adoring him. And that moment, Shufu came up from behind us, and when he came up from behind us, they turned around and they went, oh my gosh, now they're standing in front of him, and they were stunned. They didn't know what to say. They were literally grasping for air. They were so stunned. They didn't know, they seen this master, and Master Sheng is, he, as a person, you wouldn't think, oh, he could give that off, but the aura that he gave off is so incredible, and I mean, so powerful, but wonderful. And he was looking at them, and he saw that they were startled, because they saw him, and so he went, it's okay. He says, it's okay. Everything's fine. Calm down. And so they were like, they settled down because he's calming them down.
I was struck. I was I didn't even know what to say. It was this, he just, I don't know, the feeling, his energy was just, I was speechless. I didn't even know what to do. You were there. And I still remember that moment, and it was amazing. It was very powerful.
Yeah.
Right through you. And he had compassion for me and myself and my cousin. He was a very compassionate person. Yeah.
The reason I tell you this story is because it has everything to do with life and death thus cast aside. He's telling you, don't be afraid of the little death. Don't be afraid. You put it aside, with this. So you put aside the idea of life and death. he used to always say that the Buddha was in the present moment. So what he's doing is reassuring you, just like he was reassuring my students. It's okay, calm down. Life and death cast aside. It's okay. You know, even if you don't get it, you still, it's all right. And he used to tell the people, that's why he said, you know, it's just like trading an old car for a new car, not bad. So you're casting aside all that, you letting go of the fear. You let go of the fear of life and death. A lot of people, they fear that they don't want to die. And of course, you know, it's like, it's foolish for us to say, okay, well, I want to prove I'm not afraid of death, so I'm going to kill myself. That's stupid. That's ignorance. But especially since I've got so much of a long road to go still. And, but the thing is that it's something that it's not like I'm clinging to it. I'm trying to do and follow in Shifu's footprints, snow prints, I should say, in how to do this and to understand this. And so we've got to get away from this idea of this. We're at the time that we're celebrating Shifu's the anniversary of his quote unquote death. But I think it's good for us to pay respect to him. But the story that I have from the time when he passed was that there was a time in which one person that was close to Shifu had said that Shifu passed away. He went into parinirvana, and you know we should give respect. So I wrote to the group and said that it is proper for us to give respect to Shifu. That's something that we do. But I want to share a story about that he told. And the story that he told was that there was once this one old master, and he was traveling from to another temple, and he had stopped overnight at this one temple to stay there and to have some dinner and sleep. And so when he was there, the members of the temple, the monks, they took him around and to show him their temple. And so as they were walking by, he saw a picture on the wall, or a painting on the wall of a monastic. And the master said, who is this fellow here? And they went, oh, well, that was our master. And he passed on. And so the old master looked at them and said, and can you tell me exactly where did he pass on to? Well, that what I said didn't go over too good with some people. They just didn't understand it. And they said a few things, and my only response to them was SHSSSH. Shh. Don't talk. And the thing was that because it isn't a passing on. This is his death poem. He's saying life and death is cast aside. Where could he go? Where exactly did he go? Within this, he's experiencing weeping and laughing because there's that experience of being in samsara, and that's the way it is. But also samsara is growing old, and then he's saying intrinsically. So the very first part of each line is talking about the absolute. If you read it, busy with nothing, that's the absolute, growing old, samsara. Within emptiness, absolute, weeping and laughing, that's apparent reality, samsara. Intrinsically, the absolute. There is no I, that is samsara. Life and death is there and thus cast aside. It is the message, don't be afraid. If you practice properly, you have no fear of death. You just practice and you do your best, and you do your best here. And that's what his message was, is it's a message of great wisdom reflecting compassion. And he demonstrated that in his life. So if you really want to see the meaning of what this poem means, then study his life and you will see. So thank you for listening. I went a little bit over time, but if I give this talk again, I'll probably say a completely different thing than I just said tonight. It is just that deep. But I wanted to present these poems to you because they mean something. They mean beyond the words and phrases. You can't feel them in that way. You have to feel them from your heart. Okay? So I'll take questions. Questions or comments? Well, you read my mind, Harry. Go ahead.
I know. Well, you just reminded me, the last thing you said, just from an anecdote. I'm a docent at the Rubin Museum in New York. It's a museum of Buddhist art. I give tours of various things. And I had a tour of second graders. And we came to a statue of Bengze Chen, who's a Dharma protector. So this one second grader was not fooled. He looked at the statue and he looked at me and he said, "Where is Bengze Chen?" He meant right now. People don't think of that. They think that the statue is the statue. But this second grader wanted to know where the being is at this moment. Of course, I couldn't tell him. But I just thought it's an interesting, sort of on the opposite side of what you're talking about, of like, where has he gone? And also, in some ways, where is he right now? You can't put a finger on it.
I would have put a finger on. I would have touched him on his heart.
Uh-huh.
Same thing. But yeah, thank you for saying that, because that's, you're getting the essence of what I'm talking about, in terms of this. And where do we see that? All of these statues are representative of what we have intrinsically. And we have to see it in that way. Of course, we give respect to Shifu. Of course, we give respect to all of these Dharma protectors, Bodhisattvas, Buddhas. We give because that's the balance of the two. But we see it clearly, and so indeed, where is he, right? And where did he go on to? And that's what's important, and that's what Shifu wanted us to, that was towards the end of his life when he said this. So he didn't want us to mistake that we're going to find him in a handful of shirlisis or relics, it's not going to be found there. And so it's going to be found in your heart when you're passing on the Dharma to others. So thank you, Harry. Okay, Yiten has his hand up.
Hi, Gilbert. I would like to ask a question that from Shivu's point, that busy with nothing but growing old. And second line is within emptiness, there is no laugh and weeping. Is that correct?
Yeah, that there's weeping and laughing within it. Yes.
Yeah. For these two lines, how does that relate to silent illumination method? Because I kind of sense of Shifu is also teaching the method how to practice in daily life. So just wondering that how do you see about it? Thank you.
It's a very good question. Thank you for the question. And I can answer it as how it relates to silent illumination and how it relates to our everyday life. The first one is how it relates to silent illumination, is when we sit, we have a difficulty because when we sit, we're always having some expectation. We're always having an emotion, and we want to put down the emotions, and it creates a pressure on us to do that. We think we shouldn't have any feelings running through us, but naturally those feelings are coming through us because they're tied to the samsaric forces that create this world. And so, but we don't understand that the mind creates that. And so that is, speaking of Harry with his antidote, antidote, and I'm speaking of the antidote. And so it is in this way that's what he's saying. The antidote is that within that we don't disregard it. So when we understand and we sit with right view in meditation and sun illumination, it is not a perspective of a viewpoint. This is important because only viewpoint like that would be in the five skandha, the perception of the five skandha. But this is not the perception of the five skandha. This is mind itself and the perception of mind to mind. And so when it's seeing things in this way, and as it's sitting and meditating, it just simply accepts that and knows that there will be laughing and weeping. You may be there and you may be thinking of something funny, or you may be weeping because your legs are killing you. But you understand that those things are there naturally. And so when we see things in this way and we see the balance of those things here, it gives us the wisdom to be able to practice well. And that practice is a high level of wisdom that produces compassion. So when you get up off that cushion, then you see the world in the same way, weeping and laughing is the same. We see that everywhere. We see that in ourselves. It's just the way it is. But if we look at it and say, "Oh, this is the way it is," and you're attaching to it, then it doesn't work. But if you let it go because you see intrinsically there's no I there, then it changes the perspective of how you sit to meditate, because right view is just simply the understanding that everything's created by the mind. And it is the understanding or the appreciation of the law of causation of the 12 nidana. And when we sit in this way, that is right view. That's just simply allowing the mind to rest. And so that works in that way. So when you sit, you're going to sit, and actually thank you for bringing this up, because this is very important, because I wanted to talk about this, that when you meditate, you have to let go of the ideas in your head. You just have to just sit. That's Mo Chao, is just sitting, but you sit with right view, not that you are seeing and saying, "Oh, this is the way it should be." Right view is not that way. It is just simply mind at rest, because you're doing nothing. You're just sitting. So the mind should be at rest. So when you sit, you just sit restfully. I think in the Dochen they talk about Rigpa. Is that the same, Santa?
Rigpa is just unobstructed awareness.
That's what it is. So it's Rigpa. We sit with this unobstructed awareness. That's right view. It is not, Gilbert is using right view. It is mind is unobstructed awareness. It's just this way. And when you understand that, then you see. No, I'm making a bridge with the Tibetan and the of Dochen and the Chan school, because they're not different in their ways. They're just this way. So thank you very much, Uten, for that one. Anybody else have a question? That was a great question. Did you understand what I'm saying? It's very important when you sit to meditate that you just sit. You just sit with this unobstructed awareness. The obstruction comes from allowing the self to come in and commandeer the consciousness. So once the self comes in and commandeers the consciousness, it begins a linear pattern of thinking, okay? And so it attaches from one to another to another to another. But if one just simply sits, it's liberation right there at the palm of your hand. Somewhere I read that. All right. Yes, Yung Kai.
Hi, Gilbert. I just want to do a little marketing for the coming Connecticut retreat. I just shared the application linkage and the flyer in the chat. So as of today, we only have a few seats left. However, we still have a few seats left. So just try to do a little marketing to see if you do not aware of this event
I
before.
just turned the video up. Yes, come on in. I was.
I think that was Harry, right?
No, I was going to get it so you could come in. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So if you do not aware of this event before, please take a look, and hope to see some of you here.
Yeah, the Connecticut retreat is a wonderful retreat, and we held it after the last retreat at DDRC. And Umkai has a beautiful house with actually a full-blown Chan Hall attached to it. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful place to practice. And so wonderful, and we can get people in. I thought you were going to say, well, you only sold a few seats, so you need to push it, but there's only a few left. So, but yeah, if anybody's in that area or wants to travel there, it's well worth the time. It's a good group. They're serious practitioners, so you're all welcome to come. And if you don't, we'll there's a little antechamber. We'll fit you in there. So we'll squeeze in whoever wants to come. Okay. By the way, we need to get together about. I need to buy a ticket. So I've been forgetting about that, but I've been so busy with the trials, I haven't sat down to try to work that out. But we need to get a ticket fairly soon, or else it'll be done by Zoom instead. Hopefully not. Okay, next one. So you have. Go ahead. You have it at CAGT.
Yeah, I'm sorry that my name is Jing, but anyway, I from the Xu Master's poem you just talked about. Does that mean since that's what my understanding? It means the people in the Buddha journey, and especially when it is kind of a lonely journey, and it's a journey you're always doing things for others and cast yourself aside, and since the higher you go, because look at when I'm just really a beginner, so there's so much knowledge, and those knowledge is so in depth, and it is not like normally people if you use the regular thinking and a logical thing, it's so hard to understand, and there's so much things, the sutra, so many things. Sometimes I could not even read a lot of words. I don't even know the words. I mean, the Chinese.
Yes.
So seems like the higher you go, that's what he says. When you come to the top, you find you just all by yourself. You're alone, and you're doing a lot of things impossible things, like straight hook to catch a fish. So, but that seems that's what like a truly Buddha Chan master or people believe Buddha and teaching Buddha, seems they have a very tough journey, and it is not easy even just to learn so many things, and when you're teaching others, especially even harder. I'm not sure from his point, that's what I thought from. I don't know if I understood correctly.
You did, and the thing is that when you look at his poem, you'll see that he connects with us. He says he scolds himself for being slow-witted. So he's not putting himself up. This solitary peak is the point of mind itself. That where in one sutra said that 50 billion Buddha worlds can fit on a point of a hair. And so he's saying this is a solitary peak, that everybody is included. Everybody can come and do that. And he's giving you this opportunity and saying, you know, don't think of me as being so wise and sagacious. I'm just a slow-witted. And that's what I look at it too. When I see it, I'm going, oh my gosh, when I see how much more I have to study and how little years I have, it's okay. It's all right. You practice in your own ability. Little by little, that ability gets better. But he's welcoming you to come in and say, don't worry, don't think you're just a beginner. You know, you can never attain that. Master Ling Chi was always saying, don't hold the masters up to such high esteem that you can never reach that. You have to do that yourself. You know, you can do it. You have that potential. And he was saying to his group, as I see it, there's nobody standing before me that doesn't have that potential to do that. You just have to do it. So don't worry about that. Don't have faith in the Buddha, faith in the Dharma, faith in the Sangha, and faith in yourself. Have that faith. This is what he's giving to you. He's giving you this faith to do it. Shifu's giving you the way to do it, the way to see it. Okay? So good for you. Okay, anybody else? No? Yeah. Actually, I've been preparing this for a while. I just didn't get my material all copied out. But in any case, I think it worked out well today. Thank you all. You know, this was a good thing, good questions that were there. And I'm so happy to see you all. And it's serious. It'd been a while since I'd been around here. So we'll see. You know, I don't know, you know, if I'm around, depending on where I have my next trial and whatever, whether I'll be here on Monday or not, but I think I will. So I'm almost at the end of that whole sequence. So we'll see. So I really want to give you something different. So today was that different part. So there's a lot of things that you can use in your practice here. So thank you all, and we'll see you next week. Amitofo. Stay safe.